Hello everyone, Mike Harris from Golf Monthly, and you join me here at the lovely Fox Hills Resort in Surrey. Two fantastic 18-hole golf course here, another 9-hole golf course, and we are here today in this video to look at the Arccos Caddie system. It's a fantastic bit of technology. We've awarded it Golf Monthly Editor's Choice in both 2018 and 2019, and it also made it onto our Tech 50 list. But what is Arccos Caddie? Well, if you don't know, it is a set of sensors that go into your golf club, and they basically track your performance around the golf course. It gives you fantastic data that you can really go away and look at, find out what the strengths and the weaknesses of your game are, so you know what to work on, whether that's accuracy off the tee, looking at better greens in regulation, or looking at your short game. So with the sensors, you've got three different options. You either buy a full set of the sensors which screw into the top of your clubs. You can either buy different grips, and there are a number of options that Arccos have, and then obviously get your grips fitted. Or if you have Cobra Connect or the Ping Smart Set, these come embedded within the grip and pre-supplied. It's custom option, and then those sensors link up to an app on your phone, whether you've got an iPhone or an Android device, and they transmit data from the sensors to the phone, and that's what tracks your game around the golf course. Whatever type of sensor you've opted for, a number of different pricing options of whether you pay all up front and then get a free membership, or whether you buy the grips and then after a trial period then pay an annual subscription. I think there are 5 real separate facets that Arccos offers you as a golfer. The first one is GPS distances when you're on the golf course. Arccos have got over 40,000 golf courses on the database. You just download the golf course before you go out and play, and then all the information is there. You've got your front, middle and back yardages. You can toggle the distance function on there to show you layup distances as well. So that's really invaluable. It really acts as your on-course GPS guide. So then the second functionality of Arccos is Arccos Caddie, and that really does act like a virtual caddy. It's something that Arccos have worked with Microsoft on using artificial intelligence. It's, I've got to say, a bit above my level of brain capacity, but it's very, very clever stuff. After you've played 5 rounds of golf using Arccos, that gets down your data, and it understands typically how far you're hitting clubs, and that then gives you advice. It also factors in slope and wind direction of really what your strategy should be on each hole. Gives you alternate strategies as well. So, you know, if you're somebody who favors hitting driver at all par 4s, you can toggle to that strategy. But it really is fascinating, giving you all that advice, gives you the actual yardages on the ground, and also those plays-like yardages, factoring in slope and wind. Now, you can't use some of that functionality if you're playing a competition, but there is a tournament mode. You just toggle it in the settings, very simple, and then the device is compliant with the rules of golf. So that's an absolutely fascinating bit of technology. You get a lot of insight, a lot of advice there, and to say it helps your thinking on the golf course, developing better strategies for playing the holes. So the third functionality of Arccos Caddie is it's live shot tracking as you play around the golf course. Very clever, the sensors. They're effectively asleep when they're in your bag. When you take them out, got the sensor out, that wakes them up, sends a signal to your phone that you have got, in this case, a 6-iron out here. And then when you hit the shot, it picks up the sound of the impact, the motion of the club, to distinguish it from a practice swing and a full shot. And then that feeds back to your phone. So you can see it live on the golf course. And then also when you download the round data at the end of the round, you can see how you've played each different hole. So you've played your round, you're going to go back to the clubhouse or back home, going to have a nice beer or a cup of tea, whatever you do after your round. And you can then review the data, and there is really so much data, it's incredible. It's tour level statistics. It's everything from things like you'd expect, like driving distances, fairways in regulation, but it also starts to track the typical range of distance that you hit your clubs from, from really when you get one out in the middle to when you don't hit it that well. That all feeds into the Caddy function, but there is so much data. You can either look at it on your phone. I particularly like looking at it on your desktop or laptop computer. You've got really great vision. You can look at the performance of all the clubs within your bag, look at gapping, so to see if you've got an issue with gapping, if you're hitting, you know, a number of clubs to similar distance. That's something you can, great bit of insight that you've got, you know, that is real data you've collected out on the course. And the final bit of functionality, and this I think is really cool, is the coach's dashboard. So if you're having lessons with a PGA Pro, it's one thing how you hit the golf ball in a lesson scenario on a range, but of course it's quite another thing of how you play out on the golf course. So if you're having lessons with a pro, you can give them access to your data. They go in through coach's dashboard and they can see how you are playing out on the golf course when they're not with you. And you can see, are the things that you're working on, are you making them work on the golf course? Or are there things that you're struggling with out on the golf course that perhaps need more attention? Perhaps your next lesson you go and focus on something which you've been particularly struggling with. It's a fantastic bit of insight. And say if you work with a PGA Pro and try to improve your game, that level of data, as we all know, it's very different often the game that you have on the golf course to the, you know, how you hit it on the practice ground, particularly in front of a coach. So that is a really fantastic bit of functionality with Arccos Caddie. So I've downloaded the long cross course here at Fox Hills. Let's get out, play 9 holes, get some data, and then have a look at it after the 9 holes. So that's 9 holes played. Let's go back to the bar and have a little look at the data from those 9 holes. So back in the clubhouse after 9 holes there on the long cross course at Fox Hills, and I'm able to review the data on my laptop. I think it's a better experience on your laptop. You can do it on your phone, but you get so much more data here. It's easier to digest. I actually played quite well, just 3 over for the 9 holes. That included a penalty shot at the 5th hole, where I hit it into the penalty area, a little sort of ditch that about 100 yards short of the green. Bit of poor strategy there, certainly something that again I can take away, learn from in the future. Interesting to look that driving was okay today. I hit 3 out of the 7 fairways, 3 out of the 9 greens in regulation, but unlike a lot of this season, my short game was really good. Only had 13 putts in the 9 holes, so hold a lot of putts and got up and down 4 out of the 5 times that I needed my wedge. So that was great. Really good to see that. Again, that's what I talk about with the sort of, can be sort of quite motivating to see when you're playing well, but it does also highlight, as I say, my strategy on the par 5 5th hole really wasn't particularly good today. So I've been using Arccos Caddie all of this season, and I've really enjoyed all the functionality that it offers me. Those GPS yardages when you're out playing, really good there. The plays-like yardage, particularly when you're using the Arccos Caddie function, is great. Obviously, going to a new course, you can download the course before you even get there, use Caddy, and to look at the different strategies you can employ on your way round. Very clever how it takes in both wind direction and also slope to give you those plays like yardages, looks at how you've been hitting your clubs, overlays data from other Arccos users. I think it's something like 3 million rounds of golf have been played using Arccos, so there is a wealth of data out there, and undoubtedly the more you use Arccos, the more accurate the data gets, the better the strategy advice, and the more insight you get. Been really interesting to look at the performance through the bag for me as well. So really one of the things that was highlighted is just how poor my short game has been this year. It's really held me back. I feel like I've been hitting my driver, my woods, my irons quite well, been putting quite well, but wedge game is really poor. That stat there that we saw earlier, looking at it, that I hit more greens with my 6-iron than I do with either my 50 or 54 degree wedge, shows me where I need to work over the winter to get better for next year. Arccos have said that 84% of their users in the first year see a reduction in the handicap. Now, I'm actually in the 16%. My handicap hasn't got better this year. However, as I've just said, I do feel that I've got that insight Arccos has given me, that I know what to really go away and spend my practice time on over the winter, what I need to work on to be in, better shape for the 2020 season. I like that coach's dashboard as well. It really does give that insight to your PGA Pro of how you're playing on course, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Really go into a lot of detail there, again, so you can formulate a plan with working with a PGA Pro on what to specifically focus on to take your game to the next level. There are a few drawbacks with Arccos Caddie that I think are worth highlighting. First and foremost is you do need to play with your phone in your pocket. To start off with, I found that quite distracting. I started off with my right pocket, actually found after a few rounds moving to my left seemed to be less distracting, but no doubt about it, having a phone in your pocket is more distracting than not. Particularly, you look at the size of modern phones, they are pretty ginormous. I think it could be quite distracting. Arccos are just about to bring out a device called Link, which is a very small little thing that clips onto your belt, and I've seen that, I've seen prototypes of that, seen it in action. That will be a real game changer. It will be an extra investment. I think it's something like going to be £80 to buy that, but that will take away the need for the phone to be in the pocket. Also, when you are using your phone, Arccos does drain the battery, or it can drain the battery quite significantly. Anything up to 60% of your battery can go over an 18-hole round, so you do need to be charged up to 100% at the start of the round, otherwise it can run out of battery as well. And I have to say that, as I say, I played quite a bit of bad golf this year. There have been some good points as well, but I can see how possibly it could be a little bit demoralising going back in and reliving rounds where you've played poorly, you've hit some bad shots. However, if you want to get better, you do in golf need to understand your weaknesses, and Arccos gives you so much data around your performance that if you want to get better, if you're serious about playing better golf, about improving, then understanding where your weaknesses are and then working on them really is the key to getting better. Overall, I really enjoyed using Arccos, and I say want to practice things over the winter, but I'm looking forward to the 2020 season, hopefully going to cut my handicap, and say that insight that Arccos is offering I think will be key in doing that. So really great bit of technology. I say it's won our Editor's Choice and Tech 50 awards. I think if you enjoy technology, if you want to gain more insight about your game, then the Arccos Caddie is really worth investigating.